Since the dawn of time, aka 2005 when YouTube started, people have been throwing their hat in the ring and attempting to become internet famous. I don't know if that's their intention from the get-go when deciding to start a YouTube channel, but it is certainly a side effect. Of these millions of YouTubers that have hit the scene, a few have stood out to me the most over the years, and it's not just the dudes sitting in a chair talking into a mic on a boom arm, like, like I'm technically doing right now, but the characters. People using a cartoon avatar in place of themselves. I've always preferred creators who use characters instead of their real faces, which is why VTubers fascinate me. Ego Raptor, for example. Before Game Grumps, he was probably my favorite creator on the internet. I was a big Newgrounds kid, and his animations were the height of comedy to me. Like, it felt like the human race had peaked, so when he hit YouTube with sequelitis, I mean...
That's the best thing I ever saw!
I would actually go out on a limb and say that sequelitis inspired me to start making videos. Like, even though Homie only ever made 3 episodes, after all these years they just stick in my brain. It's just a guy talking about something he's passionate and seemingly knowledgeable about. But he's not a guy, he's a cartoon character. Noodle is a more recent example, but another of my favorite YouTubers and another inspiration of mine. Just a dude talking about topics that he finds interesting. And he made a whole video about Ween, so as a fellow Boognish worshiper, he has my heart. He brings a refreshing creative direction by having these little physical sets and just drawing his character on paper, attaching that to a popsicle stick, and essentially putting on a video essay puppet show. Alongside some other traditionally animated videos as well, but like, the point is, again, this is a cartoon character with a real person behind it, not a person looking at a camera and just talking into a microphone. Now, I know what you're thinking. Actually, Mr. BitPixel, I clicked on this video because it was about VTubers, and these guys aren't VTubers, actually, they're YouTube animators. And to this I say, like, shut up and let me get to my point. Don't start typing those comments yet, we'll get to your waifus, I promise. The point is, there's always been a space carved out on this platform for many types of creators, whether that be dudes, gals, and anything in between sitting in front of a $20 web camera and just talking into a boom arm that they got for like 15 bucks on Amazon, or cartoon characters that are technically the same thing, you just can't see it. I find the latter more compelling, personally. There's just a bit more character that comes from, well, a character talking at you over a person. But here's the thing. Animation is hard, it's time-consuming, and making content around a character instead of a human sitting in front of a camera, it's gonna take a lot more time than just hitting record and talking into a mic. But what if it wasn't harder than that? What if you could just hit record, start talking, and have software do the animating for you? Enter the VTuber, a subset of content creators that seemingly came out of nowhere, yet has now exploded into an entire generation of people trying to carve out their place on the internet. And they're all hiding behind some cartoon avatar. Including myself, clearly. I want to get into the history of VTubers, what the hell they are, how it started and blew up, and how I myself got into it. Now, I'm just going to preface this by saying I am not an expert on VTubers by any means. Like, most of them are streamers, not so much long-form content creators, and I'm gonna be real, I just don't really like streaming content in general. Like, I used to stream on Twitch with this avatar, which seems antithetical to the statement, but it's just not my thing. I prefer thought-out scripted content over spur-of-the-moment reactions to the mundane, so funnily enough, as someone who is technically a VTuber, I generally don't like VTubers. Think of myself as like the anti-VTuber in a sense, right? Like, mine's here as the butt of a joke, not as my personality personified, but more on that later. All of that is to say, there's no denying that there's a charm to it, and I first discovered the whole concept from those animated clips people made from key moments of their streams.
I hope to see you at Lightning McQueen's next race.
Like the Game Grumps animated of the old YouTube, I found my feed suddenly flooded with fan-animated Korone and Gura clips, and they were cute and funny. I had no idea what the source material was, but it turned out there was this whole subset of animated streamers boiling over from their niche and entering the mainstream. That's getting ahead of myself, though. Let's start with the question, what is a VTuber and how do they work? A VTuber means virtual YouTuber, yet the idea transcends YouTube as a platform. It's basically an online entertainer masquerading as a character, utilizing a virtual avatar in place of themselves, and usually they're using some kind of facial tracking software. A lot of times the characters will be drawn in a more anime art style, but other times not. Some avatars, like mine, are fully 3D, so they can be manipulated in any way. That means they could technically support full body tracking as well. I experimented with that a little bit by uploading my avatar to VR chat, and it was neat, but ultimately, like, I prefer just the stationary look like I'm using now. Also, I'm gonna be real, it was kind of distracting, like flopping my catgirl boobies around, so it's, you know, no good. Others are 2D images, or live 2D models. That's a technique that basically separates a static image into parts that can then be animated accordingly. Live 2D seems to be the choice for a lot of bigger VTubers, and it seems like most will start with a basic 3D model like mine, and then eventually upgrade to a 2D model. They'll hire an artist to make it for them and handle all the setup, and I don't know, I personally prefer 3D because I'm a control freak. Having access to my own model and the knowledge of how to manipulate it allows me to change it myself, like I can design new clothes, animate it in weird ways, or whatever. I couldn't tell you why people prefer one way over another, but that's my rationale. I'll never upgrade to a live 2D because I prefer to do things myself, and to be honest, I kind of prefer the 3D look as well. So that's how it works. Get you a model, get some facial tracking software, and you're off. Start making content. That's the how, let's get into the who. The first VTuber, at least from what I can tell, was Kizuna AI. She debuted in 2016 and was from Japan, and saw tremendous amounts of success, reaching about 4 million subscribers on YouTube, 2 million of which were achieved during the first 10 months of the channel's existence. Honestly, never heard of her until I started researching for this video, but from what I can gather, the success of her channel kinda spearheaded the entire VTuber movement. I think it was kind of just like the right movement at the right time, you know, like YouTube had become oversaturated with the typical person speaking into a microphone while looking at a camera content. Anime was starting to pop off in a big way in the West. I've got a video about that that you can watch after this if you feel like it. And with the good old global pandemic starting, there was a huge increase in people being home and not knowing what to do with their time. So content viewership and creation both saw a big boom. With that, VTubing became a viable option for people looking to start their content creation journey. YouTube reported that by the end of 2020, 38% of their most profitable 300 channels were VTubers. For a trend that had only started 4 years prior, that's pretty damn impressive and shows the viability of the idea as a whole. So with that, I think it's important to mention the distinction between VTubers, namely corporate and independent VTubers. It's pretty self-explanatory, honestly. Like, corporate VTubers are sponsored by a corporation, and independent VTubers are, well, independent. Like me, just a person with a computer making their way downtown, walking fast. Perhaps faces past, hey, perhaps not, but the only thing we can say for sure is they're probably homebound. Fucking such a stupid joke. A few big names have popped up over the years starting businesses around VTubing, namely HoloLive, Nijisanji, and v-shojo. Listen, there's all kinds of drama around these companies, and I don't know any of it, nor do I actually give a shit about it. That's a topic for someone else's video that likes making that kind of content. I'm just spitting facts, yo. These are companies that exist, and they stand to make a lot of money off of streamers that they sponsor. Not to say it's all bad, though. My understanding of the corporate space is that you go through an arduous audition process, then after being selected, well, bam, you're an overnight sensation. Trying to find stats on how fast that growth could be was a little difficult, actually, but one example I saw was the Nijisanji VTuber. Well, I mean, I hate to embarrass myself and butcher this name, but I'm going to try here. Hayaku Montenbara Salome. That's probably about right. She set the world record for being the fastest VTuber to reach 1 million subs, taking approximately 13 days. Compare that to most independents that I know, and dude, I mean, there's people I know who have been streaming a few times a week for years and are still under 1K follows on Twitch. It's a competitive market out there, man, and trying to carve out your place in an overwhelmingly large community is not easy. Having the skills to do so and being selected by a corporate entity to give you a leg up, I mean, why wouldn't you? It essentially sets you up with a career in entertainment for the foreseeable future, and I feel like that's definitely the end goal for a lot of content creators. I'm sure there are plenty of downsides to it, but again, I don't really want to dive into all that. I'm just covering bases here. This isn't a gossip channel, you know? That about sums up the history of this shit. I'm not going to dive into specific VTubers and give you a breakdown. I just wanted to give a basic overview of what they are. I think that's covered nicely here. With that said, I mean, that leads us to me. Why a VTuber? More specifically, why a catgirl VTuber? What's the lore here? Alright, listen. Allow me to get a little personal here, and if that's not your thing, I get it. Dude, I sometimes hate when YouTubers get too personal, so I don't blame you. Go ahead, just close the video. Thanks for sticking around this far. Hope you learned something.
Oh, I'm going. You're gonna be all, where's Bender? I miss Bender.
We won't know that until you leave.
Oh, I'm leaving.
There's the door.
Are they gone? Good. Fuck those guys, dude. Are you serious? Like, fucking trying to pour my heart out. You're gonna fucking just leave us? For those that stayed, I hate to be a disappointment, but, like, there's no deep answer to this. I don't feel like a cat or a girl on the inside. I'm just a scrungly dude in my 30s writing scripts, sitting in front of a microphone and a camera and pressing record like every other douchebag on this platform. The only difference is you don't see me, you see the avatar. The VTuber came about from my days streaming on Twitch. Like, I'm actually in the process of working on a whole video about that and how it was, I mean, like in a nutshell, toxic for me and my love of playing video games, but that was the start of this VTubing nonsense. I streamed on Twitch years prior, just being another guy on camera talking into a microphone, and to very little success. That is to say, like, I wasn't good at streaming. Again, I dislike watching most streamers, it's just not my type of content. It would make sense that then I myself would be bad at it, but yet, I always had this drive to create something, even if that something was just more like let's play garbage content. Long story short, because the long version will be that upcoming video if I ever release it, that got stale, so I quit for years, and when I came back with a VTuber. They were rising in popularity, and I wanted a new hook to start streaming with. Something more than just another dude talking into a camera, drinking beers, and playing video games, right? After researching how it works and finding the software that would suit my needs, which was Vroid Studios and VCface, I toyed around with a lot of different models, but none of them were working. They were all just kind of boring and not working for me. I don't know. A longtime friend of mine said, "Bro, you have a deep-ass voice. Wouldn't it be kind of funny if your avatar was like a cute cat girl?" We laughed about it. I said, "Bet," and I created what you're seeing now, essentially, and tested her out to my friend. He thought it was hilarious, and that was that. My new streamer identity was born. Honestly, I saw some modest success with it on Twitch. Like, you know, definitely the occasional naysayer, but ultimately I was way more successful as a cat girl on the internet than I ever was as another dude talking into a microphone. And honestly, it was just really fun. It goes back to those YouTube animators that I always admired. I find it more interesting watching a cartoon character talk at me. I don't know why, and I'm sure there's psychological studies about that, but I just resonate with that more than I do with just another person talking into a camera. I feel like that's what all my past content was missing, was a character. See, this channel isn't my first foray into making content. Like, I've tried for years. This is just my first published foray into YouTube. Since like 2010, every few years I would say, this is it, I'm gonna buckle down and make a video, and then I would. And it would turn out really bad, and I'd be way too embarrassed to post it, so that was that. Like, the content creation drive would be satiated for another few years, but no one was ever going to see what I made. They were all videos of me, though. Me trying to be the next angry video game nerd, or JonTron, like, me trying to channel my inner Nakey Jakey to carve out my place on this platform. But it wasn't me, it was inauthentic. I'm not an entertainer, I'm boring, I'm quiet, I'm reserved, like, I'm calm all the time. I don't know. I'm not self-confident enough to be bombastic and animated. So videos of myself, I mean, they're just boring. But hiding behind a character strangely allows me to be my more authentic self when speaking. I can focus on my written dialogue, not on making sure that I'm not doing anything weird with my hands, you know? Like, I can just turn on my camera, open VCface, and talk. What started as a joke, my deep man voice coming from a catgirl avatar, kind of just became my content creator identity, so I've owned it and I've leaned into it. I find it even more funny now, honestly. Like, I never really mention it in the videos. It's always just, let's have an analytical look at the history of video game music, and what you see on screen happens to be a catgirl with a deep voice talking. I don't know, I find not calling attention to it makes it funny. And I also found that with my first YouTube video that I uploaded a few months back, like, I'm not embarrassed by it. I should be. It's super rough, and I see a lot of glaring errors with it now, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't have my actual face attached to it. It's an interesting phenomenon, and for the time being, I'm sticking with the VTuber's fun, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm sure it's off-putting to some, and I guarantee there's some people that click and go away because they're like, oh, another fucking VTuber, but like, whatever, dude, I think it's funny, so here you are, right? At the time of this writing, I'm sitting at 22 subscribers, and I just want to say to those of you that have subbed, thank you so much, like, sincerely. I mentioned at the beginning of this video that people have been throwing their hat in the ring and attempting to get famous, but like, that ain't me. I'm not grinding and putting in work to raise my view count and sub count, and honestly, like, this whole channel is just me wanting to scratch a content creation itch that I've had for years now. Like, I intentionally have not linked this video anywhere or told anyone about it. Like, I'm just letting it grow naturally while learning some new skills. I just wanted to get better at writing, public speaking, and editing, and this seemed like a good creative outlet to do so. The fact that even one person subbed to me is like, dude, it's crazy. It means so much. Like, and when I receive comments like this, dude, it makes my day every time. Like, it means that I am improving on those skills that I'm setting out to improve. So like, for real, thank you so much. All right, that's enough emotional vulnerability for one video. Like, I'm gonna just go back to being a cat girl or whatever in the next one. With that, I'm out. I hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.